All right, on questions 17 through 19. Here, we want to factor completely, and we want to get the solution. So we're solving by factoring completely. So remember the first type of factoring we're going to do. Okay, we're going to do greatest common factor first. Okay, always check for greatest common factor first. So it looks like we have a 1, so there's no whole number, but there is a z all the way through. So we have a z on the outside. And if you take a z out of all these terms, you get z squared minus 4z plus 3. And now this is a trinomial, and the trinomial should factor. I believe there are factors of 3 that get you negative 4. So that would be negative 1 and negative 3. So now it is factored completely. So now we can find out what makes this 0, and this 0. So here, z could be 0. Here, z would be 1. And here, z would be 3. Okay. If you wanted to verify that, you could plug this in your calculator and you could check. Let me show you that real quick. So in our calculator here, we could clear this out and we could put x to the power of 3 minus 4x squared plus 3x. We could hit graph. And from there, it's a little tough to see, but does look like we have 0, 1, and 3. But without even zooming in, we could just go to the table of values and look at 0, 1, and 3, and you notice that all the y values are zeros. So you could verify the answers quite quickly. Okay. Number 18, we want to solve by factoring. Since this is an x to the 4th, but this is squared, and there is no common factor on this one. There is not an x all the way through, and there's no whole numbers all the way through, so we have 3 terms, so it's 2 sets of parentheses. Here we're going to have to do an x squared and an x squared, so we do get an x squared in the middle when we do our outers and inners. And then we're looking for factors of positive 4 that get you negative 5. Should be straightforward, negative 1 and negative 4. Okay. Now, x squared minus 1 should sound familiar. That's a difference of squares. And this one here, x squared minus 4, these are both difference of squares. This is a difference of squares. So this factors in the x minus 1, x plus 1. This factors in the x minus 2, x plus 2. Okay. So what are your solutions here? X could equal 1, x could equal negative 1, x could equal 2, x could equal negative 2. Okay. So if you graph this, you would find you would have 4 different x-intercepts. Okay. 19, again, we want to do greatest common factor first. Since this is a cubed and this is an x and we have 2 terms, looks like we can pull out an x. Since this is a 1, we can't pull out a whole number, so we take out an x, which leaves you with something minus something. So take an x out of a cube, you get an x squared. Take an x out of a 16x, and you're left with a 16. And this should look familiar again. This is a difference of squares. So this is x minus 4, x plus 4. So here are your zeros. So x could equal 0, x could equal positive 4, and x can equal negative 4. Okay. So those are your solutions.